Hello, divine people. Happy Get Woke Wednesdays. So, if you were with me last week, you know that I have started a segment called Marriage and 99 Problems, but Love Ain't One. And just to recap, I have decided to do this segment because I really just felt compelled to do it. I was looking at some statistics and some other things going on with marriage in America, and we are upwards 50% divorce rate here in America. And if you're married, and you have an awesome marriage, then you know that life is so wonderful when you're in a loving, healthy marriage. It's like the sun is shining every day, the skies are blue every day. Now, a marriage is never perfect. It never will be, because we're imperfect human beings. However, we can have an awesome marriage. And if you are married and you absolutely love your spouse, want to make it work, isn't it better to have these tools, to do these things, to work together as husband and wife in order to get an awesome life? So, if you feel like your marriage could use a little TLC, I encourage you to stay tuned, because right here, right now, it's about to go down. Right here on Davian Stish. Okay, so I have got to start this segment by chuckling a little bit. I am chuckling at the universe, I'm chuckling at the Lord. I believe the Lord has a sense of humor. So, I'm just chuckling, and it's just like, it's so interesting that I decided to do this segment last week. That was the first time that I had been starting this 99 problems, but love ain't one when it comes to marriage. And my husband and I, don't get me wrong, in our early years when we were married, when we were first married, we were married extremely young. We had a child when we were extremely young. So we had our fair shares of fighting and arguing and, a lot of stuff to get through. And we had a lot of growing up to do. And so in those early years, we would have fights and arguments and, big blow-ups. And today, we do not have nearly the frequency or the measure of the blow-ups that we used to have. However, it's just so funny to me because something kind of happened this weekend after I started the segment. Something happened that typically does not happen in our marriage. And so I'm just thinking to myself, okay, what is it, Lord? What is this about? Am I supposed to be learning from this? What is going on, Lord? What is going on, universe? Help me out. Of course, it could be a mere coincidence. However, I'm not about that life. I believe that everything happens for a reason. And so I believe that there's something to be learned from each experience that we do experience. But all that to say this. As I mentioned, my husband and I usually do not have huge blowouts, but the weekend after I posted last week's video, which was last weekend, ish hit the fan. And I am going to actually tell you this story because I absolutely did get something out of it. We learned something from it. And so I just really feel compelled to let you guys know this story, how it went down. If anybody knows me personally, you know that I do not air out my clean or dirty laundry. It's just to the world. That's just not how I typically do things. However, now that I have 100%, I believe that I have tapped into my gift. I believe that I am walking in my purpose right now. I have found that my purpose and my gift, it comes with needing to kind of get personal with issues and with life experiences. This is why I have experienced them. This is why I go through things, because I am here to really hopefully help somebody else out. The Bible tells us that nothing that has been done, nothing that you're going through, nothing that you will go through, nothing that you have gone through is anything new under the sun. Meaning there's always somebody that has gone through the same thing that you are going through, or that is going to go through the same thing that you are going through. And that's another reason why I have named my YouTube channel Davian's Dish, because I believe that we are here to be fed spiritually, emotionally, and mentally every single day. But I believe that we need to feed others as well. So that's why it's Davian's Dish. I am feeding you guys my dish, my pearls of wisdom, my divine knowledge that I believe that I get from the Lord, from the universe, and from my experiences. So without further ado, I'm going to tell you a little story. So last week we did communication. One of the things I touched on was about communication. And I believe that what happened over the weekend is just kind of confirmation that says, hey, I need to go a little bit deeper, dig a little bit more into communication and the pivotal role that communication plays in a successful marriage. With that, here's what went down. So, my husband and I, we typically go to, it's called Pacific Beach. We go there with his family on about three occasions throughout the year, and we stay the weekends. And so it's a 3-hour drive. So on last Friday, we set off on our 3-hour drive. When we left, all was well in our world. About 20 minutes in our drive, we hit the next city. My husband, he suddenly says, hey, did you remember your laptop bag? And man, right as those words left his mouth, I knew I had forgot it. And it was something that I wanted to bring. I wanted to bring my laptop, and there was some other things that I had placed in that bag that I absolutely wanted to bring on the trip with us. And I let him know that, no, I forgot it. Dang it, I forgot it. Now, mind you, at this point I knew that we had actually left the house later than he wanted to leave. He likes to, leave early enough to be able to get there early enough, and as I mentioned, it's a 3-hour drive. And so I knew that we had left later than he really wanted to. And he asked me what was in my bag, and I let him know my Surface is in there and a couple of other things. And so at that point, I wanted him to automatically, I guess, turn around and go back and get the laptop. See, but I didn't want to open my mouth to say anything about it because I knew that I sensed that he didn't want to turn around, and if he did want to turn around, then he would have just done it. And so with that, I became silent for the drive. So I didn't actually tell him out loud that, hey, I really need to turn around, or I want to turn around. And he didn't say anything to me after I told him what was in the bag. And so at that point, I was feeling irritated that he didn't turn around. Even though I didn't say anything out loud, I felt irritated that he didn't turn around. And so I just began to not say anything. I wasn't, happy-go-lucky anymore. I just kind of sat there silently. About an hour and a half into our drive, we stopped for food. And when we stopped for food, I finally broke my silence and I said something to him, something to the effect of, how he did not automatically turn around. Didn't he know that I wanted to bring the laptop, this, that, and the other? And typically he does not come back hard. He doesn't clap back at me as hard as I go at him if I'm like irritated or frustrated or whatnot. But sometimes he lets things build up and build up. And that time at the restaurant, he came back as hard. And so, that kind of just got out of control. It kind of went away with us. And but then there was something that I remembered that was in the laptop bag that I absolutely 100% needed. And so I told him that. I'm like, you know what, if I would have remembered this item that was in the bag, then I absolutely would have opened my mouth to insist that you turn around. I didn't remember it, but guess what? An hour and a half into our drive, I remembered this item that I absolutely 100% needed because we were going to be gone the entire weekend. So with that, because of this silence that we had, and because I didn't speak up, and because he didn't speak up, and probably knowing that I was frustrated or whatnot, and maybe that upset him, so he didn't speak up either. But now we have to turn around, and we are an hour and a half, 2 hours at this point after we ate and all that. We are 2 hours into our 3-hour drive, our 3-hour trip. And so he had a good idea. He didn't tell me what the plan was. He just grabbed the phone and he called my nephew, who was at home, and he asked my nephew to come and meet us with the bag, and my nephew graciously did. He found the laptop bag. I didn't even know where I left it, but he found it, and he began driving towards us, and we began going back towards home. And so we met somewhere in the middle. So thankfully, we did not lose all of that time. But once we got the laptop, you would think that my laptop bag, you would think that that would have been the end of that whole fighting situation, silence, irritation, frustration, whatever it was. Like, that should have been the end of it. We got the bag, now we're going to the trip, this fun, relaxing trip that we're gonna have. So that should have been the end of it. Well, it wasn't the end of it. So unfortunately, that was not the end of it, okay? In fact, we went the entire weekend basically with his family. We were all in one house, and he and I went the entire weekend essentially not talking to each other, ignoring each other the entire weekend. And there is one time that I know distinctively, there's 3 times, but one time that distinctively I actually went and I made a gesture. I made an attempt for us to make up. I went and sat on his lap. Now, if you're in a relationship or a marriage, you know your significant other's sorry, or you know when they have kind of calmed down and maybe it's time to open up dialogue. But so I was actually the one who I wanted to be the one to first try to calm things down, and so I went and sat on his lap. And to me, that was me letting him know, hey, I'm not irritated or frustrated like I was. Let's open dialogue, or let's forgive each other and move on. I'm like, wait, hold on. So I was so upset, and I'm making this gesture, and he's still not reciprocating the gesture, or coming to me and trying to open a dialogue. And so that really pissed me off even more. And like I said, we went the entire weekend, even on the drive home. It was just it was not a good experience. It was supposed to be a nice, fun, loving, relaxing experience, and that is not what happened. And that's why I say it's so funny that this happened the weekend after I posted the first Marriage and 99 Problems, but Love Ain't One. So yeah, that was one of the 99 problems what we went through over the weekend. So finally, though, we get home, and the moment we got home, he opens up dialogue. So as I mentioned, right when we got home, that's when he decided to open up to me and get a conversation going. Now, all of that is to say this. The reason why he did not say anything the whole drive and the whole weekend, he didn't reciprocate when I tried to sit on his lap and kind of try to call a truce. All of that weekend happened because, unbeknownst to me, he was feeling extremely hurt and disrespected at how that situation went down. Now, see, I thought, because this is what I felt from him, I thought that he was just, pissed off or upset with me. I did not realize that he was actually feeling hurt over the situation and not just upset or pissed off. So we came to find out that, when I did make that gesture of sitting on his lap, the reason it wasn't reciprocated is because he said that he wanted more from me than just sitting on his lap. Like, he wanted me to have a conversation with him, or there was things that he, like I said, he sometimes will hold in and let it build up, and unfortunately that is one of those times, and that's kind of what happened for the whole weekend. But listen to me, that's what I'm talking about when I say communication. Like, had I known that he was not just pissed or upset with me, and had I known that he was actually hurt by the situation, I would have reacted very differently than I did. Maybe it still would have taken me some time to drive or whatnot, but I would have reacted differently. I would have given him more than just trying to sit on his lap. And so we kind of course, we talked it out, we worked it out, and all was well. We worked it out, and all was well. So, all of that to say this, an entire weekend was essentially ruined because we did not have the communication that we should have had with each other. And so that's why I say we are always learning in our marriage. You're always learning, you're always wanting to, if it's something that you both want to work for and always work at to have a better marriage, a better relationship, then you will always learn. And as long as you are open to learning and open to changing things that they may not necessarily like, and I am not talking about changing yourself or like these superficial type of changes. I'm talking about the changes that will make the relationship better. And so there's always learning that can be going on, and communication is just so pivotal in a marriage and any relationship, but especially in marriage. Even when we're talking about our children, just communication is absolutely imperative. We have to have it. And I know that it's hard sometimes when both parties are upset, so it's like sometimes you don't even want to go get that dialogue started because you're too upset. However, what if it's a situation like what we had? I completely would have reacted differently had I known that he was hurt over the situation. So that was something that he was able to recognize as well, that, hey, I should have told you that I was hurt, instead of just acting so standoffish and ignoring and, just kind of reciprocating the same silent treatment that I was giving him in the car. So we both learned from the situation, and that's why I say no marriage is perfect. And it is okay if your marriage is not perfect. No marriage is ever going to be perfect. But what needs to happen is dialogue has to happen. Communication has to happen. And expectations have to be known, have to be met. There's things that you can do in your marriage amongst you guys, amongst the two of you, that will help things in the future. And so, that is my story. I just thought it was so interesting that this blow up happens the weekend after I start this marriage and 99 Problems with Love Ain't One. So hopefully that story will help somebody realize the absolute significance of communication in a marriage. So, like I said, I still don't know exactly where it's going to go. My intuition is going to lead me. I don't know how long this is going to be going on, but I'm going to have this marriage and 99 problems, but love ain't one. It's going to go on for as long as it needs to go on, because I am really hoping to help some people out there with, if you're having issues, if you're having struggles, if you're having problems. So I want to know, comment below, what is it that kind of creates the most conflict in your marriage? Is it something that is communication, or that you find is the hardest to kind of get past and get around within your marriage? Okay, you guys, I really hope you got something out of this today, and if you did, give me a big like, comment, and share, because there's somebody on your friends list or your friends list who needs to hear this message today, so share it. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel. We do Get Woke Wednesdays and Get Fierce Fridays. Okay, you guys, I will see you on Friday or next Wednesday. Bye!